you been thinking about buying a home? A lot of people are asking themselves, where are the interest rate going? What are the prices going? And people are just thinking about it, and there's some people that have been thinking for a long time. Well, today we're going to make that process very simple for you. A lot of people complicate when it comes to buying a home, but it doesn't have to be that difficult.
Yeah, it really doesn't. And I know there's a lot of information out there, information overload, especially in this age. But in this video, we're going to make it real simple for you. The simple steps to purchasing a home, and we're going to break that down for you right now.
And welcome. And if you don't know us, my name is Gamalier.
And I'm Alan.
And today we're going to start with the first step that we're calling mindset.
Oh yeah. Mindset is everything, Gamalier.
It is, definitely is. You have to have a commitment and know that it is possible. A lot of people feel that buying a home is so complicated because of the down payment, closing costs, and all the numbers and everything. But in this video, we're going to make it very simple for you and explain what are the numbers, what's the cost, and how can you make the process very simple.
Yeah, exactly. Because having the right mindset, you want to block out all those distractions, right? I mean, you're looking in different directions. You're looking on YouTube. You're looking online, and people are telling you all different things on what to do. But in this video, we're making it very simple for you. So a big step, Gamalier, has to be knowing how much money you need.
Yes, definitely. That's our step number 2. And obviously, I've been working in real estate now close to 20 years, working with buyers, sellers, and investors. And it's very important to know where the money comes from, right? A lot of people, one of the challenges that they have is that they feel they don't have enough money to buy a home because they don't have money for down payment, for closing costs, for everything involved. So we're going to break down everything here and show you how can that be possible.
And the first step you need to do, right, when it comes to knowing how much money you need is getting a pre-approval.
Very important.
Right? I mean, you can go to your local bank or a mortgage company, and they can provide you a pre-approval letter sometimes as quick as 24 hours.
It is. It's pretty quickly. Yeah. People don't realize. And obviously, also, we have a list of lenders, companies, and everything, resources here available as a Sturgis Realty Group that we could share with you. Whether you're local here on the Metro Atlanta area, we could definitely help you and tell you where you need to go. Or if you're out of state, reach out to us. We'll be glad to find somebody in your area to help you with that also.
Exactly. So let's break down what you really need to do when it comes to knowing how much money you need. We talked about getting that pre-approval. Once you get that letter, it signifies what your budget is, right? How much house can you afford?
Yes. It's very important, obviously, just to simplify that. They're going to look at your credit, income, and based on you could do it over the phone, so you don't have to go to the bank. Based on that, you're going to talk to a loan officer in the bank, and he's going to give you the amount that the banks will allow to lend for you, which is we're calling the pre-approval letter. Other things, factors also that everybody talks about is down payment, closing costs. So what is down payment? Down payment is what you're putting down when you buy a home. It's a percentage that, for example, could be anywhere between 0 to 3.5. That's for first-time home buyers. You qualify for special program. If you're not a first-time home buyer, then you may have to put a lot more down. But keep in mind that if you have not, even if you have owned in the past, if you have not owned a home in a while, you could qualify again for a first-time home buyer program.
Exactly. And closing costs tied in with a purchase of a home can range anywhere from about 2 to 5% there, Gamalier. Something to consider there as well.
Yes. And for example, just to break it down, let's say if you were to buy a home that is $300,000 and you had a 3% down payment, that will be $9,000. But if you use, if you go to the closing cost, let's say range is 4% closing cost, then you're looking around $12,000. And we're going to talk a little bit more about, when you add those two together, we have 9 plus the 12, you close to $21,000. How can you come with that $21,000?
Well, there are some options out there, Gamalier, and one of them is a grant, right? Yes. So basically, they can provide you free money, so to speak, and that can help reduce your closing costs there. Another way is to do what's known as a seller contribution, right?
Yes.
So you have a realtor who's good at negotiating. Say they can reduce that closing cost now down to maybe half, right? Correct. So maybe we're getting like $6,000 to $8,000 deducted now off your closing cost price. So now you may be coming to the table with $10,000 to $12,000.
Correct.
Versus $21,000.
Yeah, and there's many scenarios, obviously. And there's also another scenario that if let's say you were to buy that same house for $300,000, and you find a program that is 0 down%, so I mean you don't have to bring the down payment at all. You eliminate completely. Plus, when it comes to closing costs, which is the other part that you have to pay, let's say if it's $12,000, you could get a contribution from the seller anywhere between $6,000 to $9,000.
Yeah.
Let's say we get a $6,000 contribution. That means you only have to bring $6,000 to buy the entire home. So you could have a situation where you could buy a $300,000 home and
With very
just
little money
bring
down.
only 6,000. In this
Yeah.
cases, where I've seen where obviously different scenarios that could be lower or a little bit higher, but that's just to give you an idea that it's possible, and
Yep.
money should not hold you down.
Exactly. So that's one of the options out there. Obviously, we've got more that we can talk about.
Yes,
Step number 3 is selecting the right licensed realtor.
very important.
There's a lot of realtors out there, Gamalier.
There
right?
is, yes.
But what separates one realtor from another is definitely experience. Someone who's been through the trenches,
Yes.
someone who's got great negotiating power, and that's where the Sturgis Realty comes in, right?
Yeah, and because I've been, in business for over close to 20 years now, and I've been in both sides, from the seller side, from the buyer side, from investor side, I'm able to see and negotiate and guide you to the best way to make sure that we negotiate best on your behalf. And obviously, the goal is for you to find the home for you and your family that is the right one.
Yeah, and they're going to make the process much more smooth too, as well. When they take you through the whole steps of getting from purchasing a house all the way to closing. So once we put the offer in and all of that, there's a lot of steps that go in between that. So we guide you and make the whole process much more smoother.
Yeah, it's very important. Yeah, that's very important. So you want someone, like I mentioned, that makes a smooth process and doesn't complicate the transaction already. So another step, which is step number 4, very important, is making an offer. What happens when you're making an offer?
Well, there are some steps tied in with that making an offer, right? You're going to put
Mhm.
down the earnest money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is about 1% of the purchase price.
Yes.
And when you make that offer, this is where having an experienced realtor on your side will be a benefit. The list price is the price correctly. Is the house priced correctly? We do our market analysis to determine what's going on in the area, and we'll put an offer in there that will be relatively competitive to get that offer approved.
Yeah, that's very important. And like Alan mentioned, the earnest money is normally 1%, and 1% goes with the offer.
Yeah.
Normally, in this house sample we're talking about, if it's a $300,000 home, it's normally a $3,000. And one thing is that earnest money is negotiable. It's not always 1%, but it could be a little bit less too. So, but keep in mind, this is not a fee. This is your money. So this is actually going to be credit on closing day. Is going to be a credit to you. So it's not a fee. So, but if the offer for some reason doesn't get accepted, then obviously that money you get it back. So because again, it's your money and it's not tied up onto all the way you close into the home.
Exactly. So step number 5 is getting that offer accepted. Right? That's the great news that you hear.
That's exciting, yes.
When the realtor calls you and say, hey, our offer was accepted. Congratulations. Well, once we get that offer accepted, there's still some work to do, right, Gamalier?
Yes, obviously, very important. One step that some people skip, which is very important, is having an inspection of the property. Right away when you offer get accepted, you schedule the inspector to come in, take a look at the property, and figure out if there's too many repairs, if you could negotiate those items, or if it's just too much, then you could just stop there and you don't lose anything at that point. You could protect your earnest money, take that back, and look for another possible property.
Yeah, so having that inspection is really, really important. Remember, this is one of your biggest investments you're ever going to make. You want to make sure that the money you're pouring into it is well worth it, right?
Yes.
I mean, if it needs a new roof, it's got plumbing issues, electrical issues, obviously you're going to probably want to back out of that. So having a realtor here, we will overlook everything and take a look at everything very closely to make sure that, the offer that we put in and the inspection report looks good to move forward.
Yeah, so we want to make sure you find a house that is good for you, that you don't get surprises after you close. Another factor that happens during that time after the offer is accepted is the appraisal. Then what's going to happen, a bank is going to send an appraiser, which works independent from the bank. Their job is to look at comparable sales in the area of the properties compared to yours and give a price. The bank is going to lend based on that price of the appraisal. So
That's
it's very
important.
important appraisal process. It's a step that happens through the acceptance of the offer.
Yeah, that is important because,
Very
like you
important.
mentioned, that's the amount of money that the bank's going to loan you. So if you put an offer in for say 305,000, but the bank comes back at 300,000, now you got to come up with some extra money.
Yes, yes. So that's very important factor there. And obviously, there's things that we do as an agent to protect you in case the price goes under, so you're protected too. And that's so important to again to work with an experienced
Yeah.
agent. And the last step, Alan.
Oh, this is the best one. Closing day. Yes. This is where you actually sign some of the documents and get the keys at the end, Gamalier. I love this
Yes, yes, you get the key. So
guy.
it's
Yeah.
very important, very exciting. But one thing I want to let you know, so you know, here in the state of Georgia, closing normally goes from 0 to 30 days. Normally 30 days is what it takes. That's an average.
Yeah, it's on
But
average.
depending, whether you buy, if you're buying cash, they could close as quick as 1 week.
Yeah.
But also, if you have an easy file, also a loan officer, some banks could close
2 to
within
3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks as
Yeah.
fast as that. So keep that in mind. And that days of closing start once the offer is accepted.
That's right.
That's when the clock start clicking, and you start counting the day once the offer is accepted.
Yeah, so it's an exciting day, and
It
that
is.
concludes all the steps there, Gamalier, right?
It
Closing
is.
day, you get the keys, you get the deed in the mail, and all of that. So congratulations, you're a homeowner. You
Yes.
follow those steps. All right.
Excellent. So if you're somebody who's been thinking about buying and being on the hold, thinking about waiting for those interest rates to drop or prices to drop in Atlanta, the market continued to go up. So you want to make
Prices.
sure to buy something as soon as possible. Rent continued to go up too. So you want
Yeah.
to make sure when you buy a home, you get a fixed payment. So it's a big benefit. And there's a lot of benefits of home ownership, obviously, the deductions and taxes and a lot more. But also keep in mind that you're also building equity and it's an investment also. And it's something that will be there for you and for your family.
Yeah, you're building wealth for your family. That's the
It
way to
is.
look at it. All right. Well, thank you for watching this great video. We hope to talk to you next time.
Have a good day.
Bueno, sí.